Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I am also a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over why modern dating is so hard for women, for ladies, okay? Now, I do want to put a disclaimer, and if anyone wants to skip past it, just skip like a minute or two and then you can jump into the video. However, I think this is important. I know that I am not speaking from personal experience, so I'm trying not to act like I know everything about this topic. I'm a person who has been in a long-term relationship for a while. So I don't really have this type of experience. And so I just want to make sure that you guys recognize if I'm missing points, if I'm not touching on things properly, just let me know. Again, I'm just looking at this from a research standpoint of research that I literally am looking at. And of course, be mindful that research reading can also be very confusing, and that's not lost on me, okay? We're just making videos to help people. It's not that serious. I'm trying not to step on anybody's toes, but please understand that I know I am not in the setting of modern dating. I am not a lady who is single at this time. And so I don't know these things, but I think it's still important to know because a lot of people are struggling and frustrated and people are asking me questions about this on my comments. So let's go ahead and make a video and kind of sort this out a little bit. So what is the first reason that modern dating can be so hard for women? The first one is safety concerns with online and offline dating, actually. This research was done in 2014, where actually ladies report higher levels of fear and risk of harassment and assault when dating, especially in digital spaces. Like, they genuinely are afraid to get hurt. And so sometimes we can start seeing that women are actually wanting to not be in relationships and remain single because they are actually afraid of their safety. And while I'm sure this has always been the case, we are actually seeing higher levels in comparison. There's a lot of reasons why that could be. People may have not been more open to reporting these things back then, but now we're seeing there are higher levels of fear and risk, which I think is very frightening. And so in general, always try to be careful about who you're connecting with and meeting with, especially if you've never met them, okay? The next one is something that actually has a lot more research, and I don't think you need research to say this one because I think most people can observe this. It's probably why it's a little older because we don't really need an updated one at this time. We might, but 2005, where we are actually seeing women are expected and frequently commonly doing so, maintaining and managing the emotional labor in relationships and dating scenarios, which creates stress and imbalance, which creates women less likely to want to put themselves in that situation, this position, where why would they want to be in a situation where they feel like the output may not be necessarily as important or valuable in comparison to how hard they have to work? Because if they're the ones doing all the work and they have no choice but to be in this relationship, or they didn't have as much other things going on in their life, you could imagine that they may still do so. But this is why I mentioned this is a more modern issue, because now women have more options, doing a lot more things. Very good, right? We're happy for this. However, now they're seeing, is it really worth my effort and my time and my stress to be with somebody who's not doing as much as I am because I have other things I have to do as well? So it's just taking a lot of stress on me, right? The next one is ambiguity and uncertainty in modern dating norms. I think this is very common. I have patients bring this up, both men and women, right? And this one was done in 2018, but I'm sure there's plenty more research than just this one, okay? We are kind of seeing this rise of, I want to say like casual dating, where the relationship in of itself is kind of ambiguous, like it's undefined. That's a better word. It's undefined in general, where the definitions are like very confusing. I'm even confused of them. Like when I'm seeing some patients, they're like, oh yeah, I had one patient throw a word at me that I've like never heard before to describe their relationship. Genuinely first time I heard it. They were saying they're in I don't even remember. But these definitions of relationships are really getting a little bit confusing. And there's so many different words because now it's like, I don't know, talking stage, and there's another stage, there's a situationship, there's like what is it, like bench? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And it's getting so confusing where asking for a relationship or wanting to date to get married, for example, used to be much more common, wanting a committed relationship. Now it's like looked down upon or not as common or even strange because there's so many different types of dating. And it can be really frustrating, especially for women who want a more committed relationship. And that is not lost on me at all. I understand that. The next one is a little bit I think this might be a little bit, might make people a little upset, but I do see this, and there was research in 2010 where this is more about online dating, okay? The impact of online dating can be overwhelming because there's such a large choice. I think in the research, they might have called it like a decision fatigue, choice overload, where we're seeing an abundance of options where it can actually make women feel like they're not really sure who to choose, and they might blame themselves if they choose the wrong person, and they guilt themselves. And it makes it so difficult. Sometimes avoiding relationships altogether is important, or that's how they feel is better for their mental health, because we are seeing this is actually disproportionately affecting women, where they're seeking meaningful connections and conversations. However, the amount of choice and decision fatigue actually decreases satisfaction because there's so many people. And if they pick the wrong person, they blame themselves because they're thinking, okay, I picked the wrong person. Something's wrong with me. And so they may say, okay, maybe I need to be single for a little bit, or maybe I don't understand relationships. And so then these ladies are cheating themselves out of happy relationships because they're blaming themselves. And part of it is because so many people are telling them so many different things, or so many men are offering them all these different types of things, not knowing if it's true or not. And it can be very confusing. And I understand that. The next one is, it's really sad, and I do see this a lot, and research was done in 2015. We're seeing increased pressure actually to meet idealized physical standards. So unfortunately, women, their looks are being more, scrutinized, more specified to conform to beauty ideals. We are assuming that this is amplified due to social media and dating apps, which can also impact self-esteem and dating experiences. Now, this was 2015, but now we're in 2000. We're 10 years ahead of that, and we're seeing like now people are editing with AI. I don't even know. AI is becoming so extreme or whatever it is, that people are asking me if I am AI. I don't know why people think I'm AI. I don't know. Can AI look this real? I'm a human. So these standards are affecting so many ladies, because maybe they are being affected or compared to somebody that's not even real. And that can be really challenging to date somebody who has an idealized version or a not real version in comparison to an actual woman, okay? And again, by the way, I'm not AI. For all the people, so many people asking me, I'm not AI. The next one is the influence of social media on perceived partner availability and trust. This was done in 2011, but I see this as I imagine it's even more common now. Social media can actually be a vehicle to foster jealousy, insecurity, and trust issues, because we're seeing the visibility into our partners' lives, social media-wise. We're also seeing other couples, so many couples breaking up or couples cheating on each other, whatever. Everything's more things are posted online, so it makes you feel more insecure about the reality of relationships in general. You can also compare your relationship to other relationships that are being posted online, thinking there's something wrong with your relationship because it's not like this social media couple or whatever it is. That's common too, okay? And the last point is, obviously, I think it's important to bring up economic independence and how it correlates to relationship dynamics, okay? Ladies are increasingly more financially independent, and that does complicate traditional dating roles, and it can actually create tension around the expectations of partners. And there's nothing wrong with traditional dating roles. Personally speaking, I like traditional dating roles, but I don't think if other people don't like them, I don't care. I don't judge, but I do think it works in my current relationship. However, it can still be challenging because there might be a situation where a lady has more financial independence or more financial means than her potential partner. And in that case, the male, might feel unable to provide in his whatever role that he's feeling. Maybe in his mind, masculinity means to help his partner, and he might feel uncomfortable with that. And so he might leave that potential relationship, because he's feeling like he can't provide. And that's understandable, but it's also a little bit challenging on her end as well. So we're seeing these types of dynamics. That's just one example. Y'all probably have way better examples than I could come up with, but I did want to let you know that this is not lost on me, the struggles of modern dating for modern ladies, okay? So I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.